day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.
Hi everyone, so this is going to be another health update video and kind of like a new diagnosis video, and also a video about me learning about this new condition I have. I just want to preface by saying this condition has nothing to do with me blacking out. Okay, I'll get into everything. It's just by happenstance we found out I have another condition. So let's get into what happened. If you'd have watched one of my previous videos, I did a 7-day long heart monitor as well as a 72-hour EEG. So that vlog is going to be down below for you if you want to check it out. So when I was doing my EEG on my head, I got in contact with my cardiologist, and what's it called? Electrophysiologist, there you go. It's like a more specific type of cardiologist. Asked them to put a heart monitor on me at the same time, just so we could get some data for correlating heart stuff with the brain stuff, you know? And so the results for that monitor came in yesterday. If you want to know like what the heart monitor looked like and all that stuff and what I did for it, that's all in that vlog that's going to be linked down below. So I'm not going to be answering any of those questions you have. So if you want to watch that video before you get to this one, go right on ahead. So basically I wore this heart monitor for 7 days. Every single day, 7 days, did not take it off once. I wanted to, it was itchy as heck. Basically we were putting on this heart monitor to see if there was anything wrong with my heart in the 7 days that they were not able to catch on an echo, which is kind of like an ultrasound on your heart. Like, you know, like an ultrasound for your baby, you get an ultrasound on your heart. They hurt sometimes. I'm not gonna go into that, but for a woman, they can hurt sometimes because they jab into you know what. So yesterday we went to my electrophysiologist and he told us the results for this monitor, what they caught, what they think is going on with me. So this has nothing to do with my POTS, by the way. In the past couple months, my flares have gotten really bad with my POTS and I've been blacking out more than usual. And so we were seeing in this monitor and the EEG could track something with that to give us maybe some answers into why that's happening. We got some answers in a different light other than the blacking out. So, okay, so I have like the results from it here, and he kind of walked us through it, my doctor, yesterday. So I'm not gonna like show you the stuff on the screen just because some of it is private information, but it did like show on the monitor. It was really interesting. It like showed what like a normal person's heart rate should be at what time of day, like my age, and what mine is correlated to that. So the monitor definitely shows that I have a higher heart rate than normal, which we already knew because of my POTS and blacking out and everything. So my lowest heart rate was 60 beats per minute, and that was mainly when I was asleep. And for normal people, 60 beats per minute, it's kind of like their resting heart rate, and in their sleep it gets into like the 40s. So mine is higher than normal, and then the highest it went to was 168. During my week with my EEG, I had like a whole exercise day to try and trigger an episode with that on, and so that's probably what that was from, me doing squats and stuff like that, which kicked my butt. And so basically what they have found out is, number one, my heart rate is higher than normal, which we already knew about that. And then I got diagnosed with something I've never heard about before, and it's nothing major. I basically have something called Inappropriate Sinus Tachycardia, which again, if you don't know, POTS stands for Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. So I definitely have tachycardia, okay? I have 2 conditions now that indicate that I have tachycardia. So if you don't know what Basio Vagal Syncope is, it's kind of like a more common fainting term that people know of. Basically, Basio Vagal Syncope is when I think you faint from high levels of adrenaline, and your heart kind of like stops for a couple of beats, and that's what causes you to faint. So apparently what I have is the exact opposite. So he even like showed us a chart of something. I gotta pull it up. I had the monitor on, right? And I think I said in my video, my vlog, that whenever I felt something weird or off, I just clicked the button on the monitor and it would like record that. And we have an instance where I have felt this sinus rhythm in my chest and I clicked the button and it indicated it here. So I'll show that picture. So this is it. This happened on the 11th at 6:15 p.m. with a heart rate of 77, and that is low. That's very low for me. That's low for me. Like my resting heart rate is like during the day when I'm awake is like in the 100s. So this is low, definitely. Anyway, so those little lines that you see, like the ba-boom, 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 the little ones, like that's your normal like heart beating for me. Like that's like a beat. And so in the middle, you see that big divot, like the big beat. That is my heart beating twice. Instead of it going, sometimes it goes, you know, like it double beats. Basio-vagal syncope is when it goes, you faint, and then it starts back up again, you know? And so mine is different. Mine is basically the opposite of basio-vagal syncope. This does not negatively affect a person in like the dangerous aspect. It basically just gives you all the same symptoms as POTS kind of, but it will not cause you to faint. Like it'll give you the fatigue, the dizziness, the out of breath feeling, but it won't actually do anything bad to you. This inappropriate tachycardia, sinus rhythm, whatever, is like more so in older people, in the older generations, like 70s and older. So I'm an old person stuck in a young person's body, okay? So it's way more apparent and way more common in people who are in the older generation of the world right now. So I'm kind of like gonna go into what this condition is, and then kind of like the next steps that my doctor advised me to take after this, because this did not solve our main question and main problem as to why is Averie blacking out. Okay, so this did not solve that, but we found something else. Like I have a new diagnosis, which is cool, I guess, but like it does not affect my blacking out whatsoever. It just makes me feel crappy. Like your heart double beating is your heart working twice as hard, and so it's gonna make you tired and it's gonna make you feel bad. I also want to mention something he talked about with my elevated heart rate. So basically, I'm not a medical professional, okay? I don't know terms of things, so I'll dump it down to like the way that I understood it. So basically, in your heart, I think he said you have like these nodes in your heart that causes your heart to beat at a certain speed. And like, I think that normal speed is like 120 beats per minute. Like it goes, like it makes your heart beat. And so the reason why people's resting heart rate is normal level of like 60 to 70 is because you have hormones in your body that are regulating the right beats per minute, you know? So like if your hormones are out of whack, if they're not in balance, that could cause your heart rate to become higher than normal. Like your nodes in your heart are like working correctly. It's just that maybe your hormones aren't, or something else in your body is not working correctly to make your heart beat at the speed it's supposed to. So keep that in mind as we get into this other portion. So we have an article, I'm gonna link it down below, that my mom and I looked up talking about this condition, inappropriate sinus tachycardia. And I thought I'd read some things for you just so you could become more informed, and for me to look back on, and doctors to look at. The first sentence, I started laughing after the first sentence. It says, IST is a condition in which a person's heart rate at resting and during exertion is abnormally elevated for no apparent reason. So it could be for no apparent reason, or it could be what I talked about with like the nodes or whatever. So these inappropriately elevated heart rates are accompanied by symptoms of palpitations, fatigue, lightheadedness, or exercise intolerance. I think I have felt like what these feel like in my chest, and I verbally like really can't explain it. So if you ever feel like, oh, my heart feels weird, like I'm trying to catch my breath for something because your heart just feels weird, maybe ask your doctor about that, more specifically like an electrophysiologist or a cardiologist, because I don't know if like a PCP would know anything about that. I asked my doctor too, I was like, is this something like a condition someone can look at just by doing like an echo, like the ultrasound on your heart? And he said no, the only way that we would have been able to catch it is by wearing this long-term heart monitor that you had on for many days. Like that's like the only way that we can pick it up. So if you're wanting to look and see if you have this, that's like the only solution that I have for you, is to get a week-long heart monitor by your cardiologist. Oh my goodness, I want to read this. Okay. While IST is now fully recognized as a genuine medical condition by every university medical center, some practicing physicians may not have heard of it or may misdiagnose the rapid heart rate as anxiety. Your girl has been diagnosed with anxiety many times, so I know I do have anxiety, but like this definitely would not make it better. It would make it worse. So here's like a visual aid they had on there. you have a drop in blood pressure upon standing. I have that. You have palpitations, fatigue, exercise intolerance, me, blurred vision, which I'm already almost legally blind. I don't know if that's any correlation. And then dizziness, obviously. So a lot of the same symptoms as POTS. Another symptom they said is dyspnea, which is shortness of breath. And then it's also associated with some other symptoms too, including sweating, chest pain, anxiety, and headaches, as well as dizziness or near fainting. So the sweating one doesn't correlate to me. I actually don't sweat at all. That's something that's wrong with me, is I physically cannot sweat. And so we think that might affect me somehow. We don't know. So this chart, I want to mention this chart. This is very similar to mine, except like the sleeping, mine gets a little bit lower than that. And my exertion is definitely higher than 150. Like mine, if I am exerting myself, like if I go and run across my lawn right now, I will get to 160, 170s, or even the 180s. I went to 180 one time. So mine has definitely gotten higher than this, but this chart is definitely more in my range than a typical 23-year-old woman's heart rate chart. It says that they don't know the main cause of IST. Oh yeah, and here it says, it is likely related to a problem with how the neuroendocrine system regulates the heart rate, a problem within the sinus node of the heart itself, or both. So kind of like with the node thing I talked about. IST may be part of a more general derangement of the autonomic nervous system, a condition called dysautonomia. I have dysautonomia, so I've been diagnosed with it. A more general dysautonomia would explain why IST symptoms often seem out of proportion to the increased heart rate. So normally with dysautonomia, I think that's what that means is dysautonomia, a lot of the times patients, when they have a elevated heart rate, they also have an elevated blood pressure. Whereas people like me, our blood pressure drops instead. So it's kind of like the opposite of what dysautonomia says it is. But there are people who are like me who have dysautonomia who are like, blood pressure drops instead of raises. Experts theorize that people who have IST may be hypersensitive to adrenaline. A little bit of adrenaline, as with a bit of exertion, causes a marked rise in heart rate, which I've definitely felt this before with my adrenaline spikes. I can't describe it. Your body just feels the way it feels. So like if you ever feel like that when you're high adrenaline and you feel like your heart is coming out of your chest, like not in a good way, like not in a normal way, I definitely would talk to a doctor possibly. Again, I'm not a medical professional, so don't take me up on anything. And there's no treatment for it. It says on here there's drug treatment for it. However, the fludrocortisone that it talks about on here, I'm already on it for my POTS and it's not doing anything. And my electrophysiologist was basically like, there's nothing you can do to treat this. Basically, you're gonna have this for the rest of your life. There's like nothing to do and it's not life-threatening. It's just really annoying and it sucks. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to change it. I think he said one day there, like when I'm like older, there's a specific like surgery on your heart you can do if it gets kind of bad. But we are not at that point, so I'm not worrying about it. And like, that's kind of it with the IST stuff. So I have this new condition I can list with my other lists of conditions. Which is very long already. So I just feel like I should be like in a medical journal or something with like everything that I have, honestly. But I also wanted to mention like some of the other things we talked on with this meeting that I had, this appointment that I had with my doctor. So we did bring up the medication midodrine, which is, I know what some people who have POTS use sometimes. It's kind of like a drug or pill you can take that will help you regulate your blood better for a short period of time every day. If you take it every day, I don't know, it like lasts like a certain amount of hours in a day. And I've heard online like people take it. I personally don't want to go like deep dive into drugs, but my mom did ask about it, and after learning about what midodrine can do to you, I will no longer even think about taking it, honestly. Even if it could help me, no. My main dream in life is to have children. I don't know if my body will let me when I get to that point in my life. However, midodrine can cause severe birth defects in babies, and I don't know if that will affect me even later on when I have children, so that's not even going to be a possibility for me. I think I'm just so used to, and other people I am with who know my condition and everything are just so used to me taking my one pill prescription and all of my supplements and stuff, and that one pill having zero side effects for me. Like my fludrocortisone, it's like I take nothing. Like, it doesn't feel like it does anything to me, honestly. And so I think sometimes we forget that, oh, there are pills out there that can give you a really bad side effect, and that was kind of hard for me to remember because the pills that I do take have zero negative effects on me. I think we just forget because of my fludrocortisone that like medicine can have negative effects on people sometime. And I gotta take that into consideration. And so that's what I'm gonna do in this situation. And there's not really any other treatment plan my doctor recommended for me. There's nothing you can really do, which just sucks. Like, for people like me who have dysautonomia and like fainting issues or issues like IST and stuff where like there's no solution, it just sucks. So my doctor kind of related the issue we're having right now with dysautonomia to when AIDS was first a thing back in the 80s. When it was first coming about, no one knew what AIDS was. Like, people were dying. Like, it was a big, giant thing. And nowadays, there's like a pill you can take. There's medicine you can take. It's not that big of a deal anymore. And so we're kind of hoping that later down the line, that can happen to people with dysautonomia and POTS and everything. Because like, not a lot of people know about it. There's not a lot of treatment for it, and people don't have answers. Doctors don't have answers, and a lot of doctors don't even know what the heck it is. So we're hoping later on down the line there will be answers. It's just like right now we're stuck in the question mark phase and in limbo, honestly, and it sucks. It sucks for people like me who can't get answers. So the next step that he has recommended for me is definitely to see an endocrinologist to see if I have a hormone imbalance of some kind, which could be the reason why I have IST or be causing my blackouts. So that's the next step. We got to find an endocrinologist, and then obviously we're waiting on the results for my EEG. Those results will probably come in when I'm back in school, honestly. So I'm just waiting for those. I don't know if there's going to be any answers for that experience, honestly. You can watch my vlog, but like that whole experience was very, very hard for me when it came to my EEG, and I feel like I'm not gonna get any answers from it. But then again, I honestly didn't think I'd get any answers from this heart monitor. And I got something, not the answer we wanted, we got a different kind of answer, and it's kind of like a step in the right direction. And I also feel like this whole experience and these results have kind of been proving that I'm not crazy, a little bit at least, because like every single 100% of every test that I've ever done, every medical test I've ever done, like blood work, CT scan, MRI, like everything I've ever done, 100% always comes back 100% normal. So it's very difficult for people like me who have chronic illnesses that are very invisible and people can't see them. And like, we are not normal. Like, we do not have a normal body. Like, it's very hard to think like and validate yourself and stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself when test results are coming back fine. Like, it's a very difficult. So I feel like I finally have a piece of paper. I finally have a document I can show people to tell them my body is not normal. And like, I finally have something to show people to tell them that, even though it has nothing to do with me blacking out, it gives like further validation that I have really bad fatigue. There's a reason why I lay in bed for most of the day, is because my body is working twice as hard to pump my heart. And there's a reason why I'm dizzy and lightheaded and can't stand for long, is because like my body is tired, is working very hard. And so yeah, that was my kind of like shortened version of everything that happened yesterday at my appointment. So I kind of got some answers, not the answers we necessarily wanted, but it's kind of like the step in the right direction. And I have a new diagnosis, so that's kind of like a plus. And so yeah, that's about all that I have for you today. Leave me any questions that you have for me down below. Have you ever heard of IST? Do you have IST? Or you can rant to me about how you're feeling this week with your chronic illness. I'd love to know and chat with you. I'm always open on my Instagram DMs, so please reach out to me. And yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. I will see y'all soon in my next one. Bye y'all.